What's up, nerds? Welcome along to coverage of GP Detroit. It's your boy, Riley Knight, and your other boy, Jacob Van Loon and JVL. Great to have you along this afternoon.
Great to be here.
Not sure if they realised they had two boys, but now they do. Other boys involved in this round number 7, Rob Pisano, Wyatt Darby. Darby with a classic all-star modern list here, playing 5-color humans, and so is Rob Pisano. 5-color humans, mirror match between these two players. I would characterise this deck as the premier aggro deck in the format. JVL, is that an accurate statement?
I think so. Over the last year or so, this deck has really proven itself to be a cut above the rest in terms of aggressive strategies in Modern. Here we see Wyatt Darby. He has a Kite Cell Freebooter. Just about the worst card in this matchup in the deck.
A real stinker here for Darby. A Pro Tour champion, sitting next to a Pro Tour champion as well. Darby taking down Pro Tour Dominaria.
Yep.
Yes, got that one. Never hesitated. Never doubted myself. Got it. And then, of course, Gregory Orange, the most recently christened Pro Tour champion, along with his teammates at Pro Tour 25th anniversary, the Citrus Assassin. We may get the chance to check in with him later on. But right now, let's see if Pisano can pull together a better start here. Can't sell Freebooter, not the card that you want to see on turn number 2 in the Human's Mirror.
Oh, definitely not. However, it's important to note that if Wyatt Darby has a lot of action in conjunction with that Ether Vial, it may give him the opportunity to pull much further ahead on the board. And in this human matchup, it's all about going bigger, faster. And if you can get ahead on the board, if you can be the aggressor, then you're going to find yourself in a really good position in this matchup.
Thales Lieutenant is a nice way to do that. And an early attack with the champion of the parish for 3. Darby is going to let that fella get across uncontested. Let's see what his next move is here. If he can come up with a powerful 3-drop, maybe activate that Ether Vial as well, then he's going to get him... Say that one again. He's going to put himself further ahead. Again, a real stinker in this matchup, JVL.
Yeah, Thalia, not really what you want to be doing.
Oh, no! He's just playing mono garbage here. This is terrible. This is terrible for the Pro Tour champion. I mean, at least they're warm bodies, right? He gets a lieutenant up in the mix or something like that. He's going to be firing on some more cylinders than he is now. But right now, he's just taking out the trash.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not what you want in this matchup. If he was playing against just about any other deck in Modern right now, this hand would have been gangbusters. It would have been an incredible hand. He only had 2 lands. He had the Vial. He's able to play out all of his threats, potentially by the 4th turn, producing tons of damage. But here, these freebooters not looking very exciting unless he's able to find a lieutenant off the top of his library.
And Pisano is absolutely running rings around Darby here as he gets in with a Mantis Rider as well as the champion of the parish. We'll see if Darby has an answer. It doesn't look like he does. A lieutenant would maybe start to be... No, he just doesn't have it. It's stone cold nothing here for him. This is rough stuff now for the PT champion. Because as you say, these disruptive creatures, Thalia, Kite Sail Freebooter, so good against a wide proportion of the modern format, but here really not doing work.
No, here just at their absolute worst.
He's drawn another one. It's a disaster. It's a disaster, JVL.
He is going wide, though. He does have the opportunity to have many more draw steps. He's not getting flooded.
But look at this hand from Rob Pisano.
Yeah.
Look at this hand. 3 lands. He's just got all you can eat bangers all the way down here. Reflector Mage, Phantasmal Image, and double Mantis Rider as well. Darby with a Mantis Rider of his own. Champion juiced up to a 6/6, so he can rumble here.
Another thing we need to look out for on the following turn is Rob may be incentivized to not attack with that Mantis Rider because he might be worried about a triple block, and which would allow Wyatt Darby to trade a single Kite Cell Freebooter for a Mantis Rider.
He's finally going to get his value off of those little Kite Cell Freebooters, is he?
Yeah, so Rob recognizing that, he's just going to trade here. Doesn't want his Mantis Rider to end up just being something that gets traded for a single freebooter.
Yes.
Would much rather trade with a Mantis Rider.
A rather inauspicious end, otherwise, that would be there to a powerful card. Of course, Pisano also with the option of a Reflector Mage, and that's going to reset that champion. That's a nice little swing here for Pisano, as of course it enables big attacks with the... Well, it helps these big attacks, doesn't necessarily enable it. And yes, everyone's favourite 1/2 flyer, Kite Sail Freebooter, doing very little other than old mate Stormcrow. He's the champion of the parish now.
Yeah, champion of the parish, attacking for 5 when the opponent's at 10. Chopping that life total in half, potentially. we may see Wyatt just go for a chump block here, though having 3 copies of Kitesail Freebooter does mean that you're turning off that Mantis Rider that you know about in Rob's hand.
Because he's seen it.
He's seen it. He knows about it.
He's seen it a lot of times. 3 times, JBL. He's had a good look at that card. Oh, he knows all about it. I think there are 2 copies as well.
So an incredible draw here for Wyatt Darby, though. A Phantasmal Image, which has the potential to copy the Thalia's Lieutenant on Rob Pisano's side of the table.
Oh, baby. That's fantastic. That's much better stuff from Darby here. He's finally reached into the bag of tricks. He's stopped rolling ones. Good to see. But Darby looks like he's going to start attacking before he wants to start pumping up this this particular jar of jam. I mean, Pisano's on 9. Man, it's tricky. He's got the double Mantis Rider. JVL, I'm not smart enough to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, this is somewhat complicated because the Lieutenant, it seems like you'd want to get that down before you're trying to attack or swing with things, but he may be thinking about copying something else. He may want to copy a Reflector Mage.
He could copy the Kitesail Freebooter. and then he'd have 4 copies of it. Then he'd have 4 of a kind.
That's true.
That's a very strong hand.
I believe it is.
But no, it looks like Phantasmal Image here. Oh, he's not. Okay, don't fake us out here, Mr. Darby. You're not going to copy a Kitesail Freebooter. I think the Lieutenant's a great pick here.
Yeah, it's definitely between Lieutenant and Reflector Mage. I like picking the Lieutenant. I think that in doing so, you really just put the most power on the table.
Yeah.
And in a matchup like this, your opponent has way more cards in hand than you. You're trying to just end the game before it gets to the point where Rob is just able to play out his cards and automatically win.
And look at that, Wyatt Darby considering the environment before printing out this email as he puts just 1 +1/+1 counter on those 3 Kitesail Freebooters. It's good to see in this day and age. You've got to, reduce, reuse, recycle. Across come the Flyers for 2, or for 4 even, 2 apiece. Back to Pisano now. His hand straight up jet fuel, however. So let's see what he can do here with both players on 5. This one got a little bit closer than I anticipated.
Yeah, this game is significantly closer than I ever imagined it would be.
So, looks like a basic island was the draw here for Pisano. Double Mantis Rider for him, in addition to a... has he got a Phantasmal Image? Is that going to wrap it up?
Oh, it may. I
think,
think,
hello. Let's just get on the phone with the doctor here. The prognosis looks very grim because that's 2 speedy buggy boys in the air. In addition to this huge ground-pounding force. JVL, this one might be in the books, my friend.
Yeah, so now this is an attack with everybody.
he's tapping the Mantis Rider. Doesn't know what to do. Just getting him in there, getting busy. Darby on 5. No amount of block's going to save this young man. And that is that. The Pro Tour champion going down to game number 1.
Yeah, and Rob very happy with himself, I'm sure, being able to win a game on the draw in this matchup when the opponent had a vial advantage. Wyatt, unfortunately, drew way too many freebooters and found himself in a world of hurt.
Well, let's move over now and slow things down a little. We're moving now to our late night jazz show, my friends. Let's bring it down a notch as we get stuck in with Gregory Orange and Ben Friedman here. Both of them playing Celestial Colonnade. Things going to slow right down to the point that it may seem that nothing is going on as we look at this control mirror, JVL.
Well, there is one big advantage here right now for Ben Friedman, and that's that he is playing the version of this deck that plays red. And that means he has access to Bolt, Snap, Bolt to deal with these Planeswalkers. He's much more effective at getting them off the table, at playing a threat-based game at instant speed. And as a result, I like his chances in this matchup. Though this, as Count of the Sunken Ruin, does have to face off against a pair of Field of Ruins on the other side of the battlefield. So only 1 activation coming for Ben.
Yeah, almost certainly here. Orange is playing a deck that has a very good matchup against lands generally. Traditionally, Colonnade decks have been huge underdogs against Tron, against these massive big mana decks, but Field of Ruin has really changed that.
Yeah, I think Field of Ruin definitely upgrades it to some degree. I still don't like that matchup.
Do you really not?
But I don't think it is as... I think there was a time where the Field of Ruin decks were also playing Spreading Seas, and those decks were really attacking Tron as hard as they possibly could. And in that time frame, I believe that those decks were definitely advantaged here. But now these decks have evolved more. They're more suited to a creature-centric metagame. And I don't think the blue-white deck is bad against Tron, but I
No.
also don't think it's necessarily a slam dunk of a matchup.
No, I agree with you there, but the point I'll make here is I think that it's advantaged across the match. I think that it has a positive match
I think you're correct there.
Like-
I do think it is favored. Yes.
across 3 games.
Yeah.
In the first game, it's going to be very tricky because it's got
Mm-hmm.
ousts, it's got useless removal spells, whatever else that aren't going to do some work. But you trim all them, you bring in counter magic, Field of Ruin. I think generally speaking, post-board white-blue has a shockingly good matchup against Tron compared especially against what it used to be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, no more Ayavugan.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Good riddance to bad rubbish there as Snapcaster Mage. I'm very slowly doling out all of the hate-fueled vitriol I have for Tron throughout the weekend. I'm trying to pace myself, you know.
Yeah.
I don't wanna-
I echo all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Even if I'm not saying it aloud.
No.
I just want you to know that deep down inside of me, I also have a burning, burning hatred for Tron.
But you're being a lot more even-handed about it.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
yeah. A good friend of mine back in Scotland, as we see Snapcaster Mage come down. Good friend of mine, Anand Alagapan, right? He's a Tron player, dedicated Tron player. He's played it for years and years and years throughout all of the things. And the thing is, he knows that this deck is pure concentrated evil. So do you know what he started to study at university just to offset the evil that he's doing? Medicine. He's now a doctor. So he undoes all the evil he does on the battlefield by saving lives at the Aberdeen local general hospital. But that's what he has to do to balance his karmic ledger. Those are the stakes we're talking about here. Orange now with his Snapcaster Mage going to get busy. Got a lot of lands in play, which is always a great position to be in when you're playing control. Another Field of Ruin here. But as we've said, Friedman, look at the hand that he's got. Snapcaster Mage, he's got Lightning Bolts, and in just heads up, sort of in a vacuum, Jeskai does have the edge, as we say, against blue-white because they can be more proactive.
Yes, and they can be more proactive at instant speed, which is especially important.
So Pisano now, fiddly farting around with his graveyard, seeing what's up there. And it looks like for 5 mana, what are we going to see here? Cryptic Command. In response to that Snapcaster Mage. Only 4 mana, of course, excuse me.
So I think Ben is probably happy with this situation. He's able to pick a fight on Greg's end step. And that's what you want to be doing in control matches like this.
Negate on the Cryptic Command. I have to say, Jacob, I don't like Cryptic Command in this matchup. It's a very clunky counterspell, and it loses more counter wars than it wins.
I think that there's absolutely some truth to that, though. Maxing out on counter magic is certainly kind of the sideboard plan of choice. So
Yeah.
even though Cryptic Command is usually that card that gets played in the turn that you're losing, it still is.
It's still very powerful.
Yeah, it's
Still
still
very
very powerful. You'd still much rather have it than oust, for example.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. But just, when you're reconfiguring your sideboard counter magic suite, I'm not afraid to trim, a copy of Cryptic Command, maybe 2. To bring in negates, bring in dispels, that sort of thing. I like them a lot more when you're attempting to especially defending your own spells on the stack.
Yeah, definitely cheaper counter magic is favored.
So this is a bit of a dog's breakfast of a stack here. The stack at the moment is Snapcaster Mage, on top of that Cryptic Command, on top of that Negate, on top of that Logic Knot.
Correct. And now, if Ben Friedman continues to fight this counter more, then he wouldn't even have mana to cast this Electrolyze, which he would potentially be targeting with that Snapcaster Mage.
So, looks like Orange may have the upper hand here. He still has a Cryptic in hand, which he can cast. And another Logic Knot as well. Oh, man, he's living life on easy street.
Yeah, though worth noting that it's going to be difficult for him to cast both of those with only 4 blue mana.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So if Ben Friedman on the following turn is able to cast one of his most powerful spells, something like a Planeswalker, with counter magic backup,
Yep.
then Greg is going to find himself in a situation where he's facing off against something like Jace the Mind Sculptor or Teferi, Hero of Dominaria.
So this highlights an important point when it comes to navigating these mirrors is timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of about picking fights on your opponent's end step so that you can resolve the most important spells, the Planeswalkers, on your turn, or simply making your opponent go for it first.
Well, it's just exactly the same as the golden rule of comedy. Do you know what the most important? Well, what's the most important thing in comedy? Timing.
I don't know. Fill me in.
Timing.
Timing.
Never mind. That one just sailed straight through to the keeper. Jace the Mind Sculptor now. And this is the big threat that Friedman was looking to deploy here. Orange with a single answer. He can't cast this Logic Knot in hand. And so if Friedman can defend this JVL TMS, as is known,
Yes.
let's see if he's got the goods.
My namesake.
Friedman thinking long and hard about exactly how he wants to contest this cryptic command. I don't know how much it's going to matter, but he does have his own. He's got a Logic Knot and a cryptic in hand as well. Okay, well, the person on Easy Street was in fact banned Friedman. You know when you're walking down the street and you see someone from a long way off and you're like, oh, look, it's Greg Orange. And you get closer and realize, oh, wait, no, excuse me, sorry. It was actually Ben Friedman. It's actually Ben Friedman. It's not Orange, in fact, who was on Easy Street. It was actually Friedman. Here is Jace the Mind Sculptor and a fetch land as well immediately if Friedman wants to make the most of a brainstorm. I like the position he's in.
So do I. And he has this brainstorm now in conjunction with the Flooded Strand on the battlefield. This means that the 2 cards that he puts back on the top of his library, he can shuffle away, not have to worry about drawing. He doesn't have to worry about this Jace getting lightning bolted because he's the one playing red, not Greg.
Well, wouldn't it be a turn up for the books if Orange goes Scalding Tarn, Steam Fence, bolt your Jace, get out of here? But that's not going to happen.
If that happened,
oh yeah,
it would be very surprising to everybody.
And it would not end well for Gregory Orange as we have his actual literal deck list in front of us and Lightning Bolt is not on it. So I imagine a judge would be called to resolve that. 2 cards back on top thanks to this brainstorm from JTMS. And Friedman with plenty of answers for the Snapcaster Mage. He has an opt now for Orange. He's gone for Pirate Art. Your thoughts?
I prefer Cisse, right?
Sure. Yeah. The classic.
Come on.
Classic mode opt.
Come on.
Yeah. For me, it goes Pirate, Cisse, Teferi. I don't like the new Teferi. With the weird ghost behind him. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on in that art. What annoys me
that's
about
a good hipster answer, though, right? It's like the older it is, the better it gets.
Oh, for you?
Oh, for me. Oh, you prefer this art?
I like Pirate Art.
Oh, okay.
Pirate Art is
fair enough.
Pirate Art, and I'll tell you why. I never played with the original opt.
Oh, okay.
So this is the first time I started playing with opt, and I started playing it in modern.
Oh, actually, it's Hana. It's not Cisse, right?
Well, I had no idea. Is Cisse the cat? Is Cisse the cat lady?
No. Cisse is the captain of the Weatherlight.
Miri is the
Miri's the cat lady.
Miri's the cat lady.
Yeah.
All right. Here's Teferi, the hero of Dominaria. Certainly a big fan of this card. Even if I don't like the opt with Teferi on it, I bloody love this one with Teferi.
Yeah. I think it would take a special kind of evil to not like playing with this card.
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I knew you were a good bloke. I didn't realize you were such a gentleman of taste and refinement, JVL. So let's see what response is provoked here from Friedman. Orange does have a lot of technology to back up his Teferi here. So, I mean, who do you favour? It looks like Friedman's going to fire off a counterspell, but Orange has got he's got the goods. With a Jace playing off against Teferi? Who do you get behind?
So I think the Teferi is certainly favored in the situation, though Ben is going to have the opportunity to untap.
Yeah.
And he can play a Teferi of his own.
And if he's got, a way to defend that, it doesn't look like he does, however.
Though Ben could also have burn spells to get this Teferi off the table.
Yes, and that may be the plan B for him here, as we see he does have, I think, an Electrolyze as well as a Lightning Bolt in hand, and he shuffled away at least one Lightning Bolt. Oh, but draws another one off the top. Easy does it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy here for Friedman. And Orange, I think, with a Cryptic in hand. Yeah, double Cryptic even. Can he cast it? He can. 3 cards, thanks to Jace the Mind Sculptor. Friedman has a slam dunk card he wants to get rid of here. He's going to think about the other one.
Yeah, the reason he's thinking about holding onto this Path Exile is he does not want to give Greg the opportunity to pressure his Planeswalkers with Celestial Colonnade.
So fetch land put back on top for Friedman in addition to another card. Didn't get a good look at that one, however. And let's see if he wants to slam this Teferi. He can back it up with a Logic Knot, but that's not going to work out too well for him. Orange does... I mean, do you put your opponent on double Cryptic here when they've already played 2? At least 1. 2. They've played 2.
Probably not. I wouldn't expect my opponent to have to double Cryptic. Though, double Counter Magic...
Double Counter Magic is...
likely. Not necessarily likely,
conceivable.
But... Absolutely.
Conceivable. 5 mana. looks like Friedman is going to deploy his Teferi, going with the rather unorthodox method of tapping all of his non-basics first. We don't see that too often. And let's just take a moment to admire those basics he's put out. Look at that.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
I want to address a point, actually, that was made.
Beta.
I want to address a point that was made to me on Twitter recently. And I spoke to the people who had an issue with this. I recently posted. I mean, I don't like it when people play with mismatched basics. It's a personal preference. It's not necessarily a judgment call, as we see Teferi here, but it's a personal thing. It's an opinion, and opinions can be and often are incorrect, right?
Okay.
I had someone reach out to me and say, listen, I don't like it when you call people out having mismatched or incorrect basics, because it's a form of gatekeeping, right? You're saying like, oh, by playing just land station basics, I'm being earnest here.
Okay.
Like by playing, just land station basics, by not, going the extra mile to find nice full art or rare or particularly difficult to find basics, you're kind of throwing shade at players who don't necessarily have the same amount of resources or devotion to the game or whatever. Maybe they don't have the time or whatever to put into their decks. And certainly that's not what it is. It's very much it's a very superficial and it's a very light-hearted judgment. So I just want to make that very clear. Like when I'm poking fun at players for not having mismatched basics, it's my own neurosis, and it's certainly not coming from a place of any real malice. And of course, I'll apologize to anyone who's offended by anything like that. But just to put it into context, I guess. There's nothing wrong with not playing beta basics, but you're certainly going to get a big fat tick of approval from me if you do. Anyway.
So I always play land box basics. I own nicer basics, and really it's just
after all
it's
of this
less effort for me
after all of this progress
to just
made.
show up and grab them out of a land box when I get to the Grand Prix than for me to look through my boxes and find matching
You're
ones.
the actual worst.
I also don't even. I have them because I've had them since I was a kid. I don't want to risk playing with them and ruining them.
Riley, I really like Teferi here at Dominaria. You and I can be best friends. Let's hang out and be best friends forever, Riley. Oh, sure, Jacob, I'd love that. And then you play land station basics.
It's me.
It's you.
I'm sorry. I'm here.
Well, if I don't deserve you, if I can't handle you at your land station basic worst, I don't deserve you at your beta basic best. So I guess I'll take my licks.
So here, gotta love Greg Orange's spot. He's getting to untap with his Teferi in play. Has enough loyalty on it. Ben, use that Electrolyze to get the Snapcaster off the table, making sure that he's not going to lose this Jace for absolutely nothing.
And now it comes back to that the dueling banjos that we talked about before, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, and Jace of the Mind Sculptor. And Orange here looks to be making a big play. It's going to be, yes, the Colonnade coming across and cracking in for 4. Mind Sculptor down. And Friedman, we kind of pegged him as having a bit of a lead thanks to, or a bit of an advantage, I should say, thanks to his endless supply of burn spells. But it looks like that well seems to be beginning to be run dry.
Yeah, and despite us believing, or at least me believing, that the burn spells gave him an advantage in this matchup, it turns out that Greg simply having had access to more counter magic on those key turns was just way more important.
Hello, here's a Lightning Bolt. Looks like a sequel, Lightning Bolt 2. He's going to get rid of Teferi once and for all here. Orange isn't going to fight over that. Let's see what he can do with his next turn. Friedman on 17. He's got another Teferi, but that's going to eat a Cryptic Command. Quick as blinking as well. Orange didn't even have a chance to tap his mana before that Cryptic was put on the stack. And a mana leak? Oh, no. Is that a mana leak for Greg Orange?
Oh, well, no. It looks like the Cryptic resolved.
Yeah. No, but the mana leak wasn't going to do it. He had 3 lands untapped.
Yeah,
that's a real clunker there for Orange.
And so I think it's still anyone's game at this point.
It looks like whoever's going to be able to stick the biggest threat from here on out, or if Friedman can start to pull together Snapcasters and Lightning Bolts, Lightning Helix off the top, Scry, we're going to see Logic Knot, Lightning Bolt. Man, this is a closer one than I thought.
It's a much closer game than we imagined it would be. That Snapcaster in Ben Friedman's hand also looking very nice in this spot.
And Friedman opting to put the Bolt on the bottom and the Logic Knot on the top. He's looking to play defensive Magic. And Orange is slowly but surely whittling down Friedman's lands. That could prove to be very decisive as we move towards the very late stages of this game here. Steam vents down. And Orange also now running out of basics. Finally, at long last. It's usually 6 islands, 2 plains, and that's what we're seeing here from Orange. Back to Friedman. Logic Knot off the top.
Yeah, the additional basics definitely providing quite the advantage here for Greg.
And Orange has not had the top of his deck treat him particularly kindly. Another Terminus off the top for him. Colonnade the draw. Back to Friedman. That's a real threat that he has to deal with, but he does have the Field of Ruin. Almost certainly you'd think that's going to take out the Colonnade here.
And Ben...
Another field off the top. That's good stuff for Friedman.
Yeah, Ben has Teferi. He's just choosing not to deploy it, understanding that because of Greg's mana advantage, he needs to find a spot where that's actually going to do something.
Well, we are going to see some action here. Any way you slice it, JVL, as we see Jace the Mind Sculptor here for Gregory Orange.
And this could prompt a counter war. And if Ben Friedman is able to win that counter war, this may give him the opening that he's been looking for to resolve that Teferi.
Logic cannot here. And Friedman figuring out exactly how much mana he's going to pay. His graveyard seems to be nice and stacked. He's going to be... what? Okay, here comes the Dell. I was going to say that just for 3. It's a bit of a freebie there. So exiling essentially all of his non-instant, non-sorceries to begin with. But Orange has the Snapcaster Mage to flashback another counterspell. And this is what these players have been setting up for, right?
Yeah, this is exactly what all of this has been leading to.
So Friedman has a look at Orange's graveyard. Oh, sorry, has a look at his own graveyard there. And now looks like Snapcaster Mage going to resolve. Is that right? Friedman not fighting over it. Does he not have anything left to fight?
I believe his Ben Friedman's only piece of counter magic remaining is a Snapcaster Mage of his own.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And Snapcaster Mage targeting Logic Knot. Logic Knot going to be cast on the opposing Logic Knot here. Not for 5. And Friedman has no choice but to let that Logic Knot resolve. And then, yeah, going to flash it back with the Snapcaster Mage. He didn't have another Logic Knot in the bin JVL, which meant that he couldn't flash it back until the first one resolved. So Orange kind of gets a free Snap out of the deal. And then the Mana Leak on turn 1 million actually has an impact.
Yeah. And, a card like Mana Leak that may seem like it becomes dead toward the later stages of the game, that may be true in some matchups, but in a matchup like this, where you're getting into these really huge counter wars at the later stages of the game, that one Mana Leak as the last card in your hand can really prove to be the difference.
And it was exactly that, as we see Jace go upstairs out of bolt range critically. And Friedman kind of has to answer this guy right now. Serum Visions finds a Celestial Colonnade. He's got a Teferi in hand. Scry 2, Snapcaster Cryptic.
Those are good.
Both very good cards, and they're both kept on top. Gregory Orange is going to be a fan of seeing that.
Yeah, Ben, at this point, I imagine he's just got to go for Teferi and then attempt a minus here to get this Jace off the table.
Orange, 4 mana available for him. Friedman with 8 at the moment. Can deploy the Hero of Dominaria. Has no defense mechanism to keep this fellow around, however. Just burn spells. But what other option does he have here? Slams the Hero of Dominaria. And Orange, I think he's got Path Oust.
Wow. So Ben here maybe finding an opportunity.
Finally getting his foot in this door.
Yeah, and normally when you watch these control matchups, it's one player that ends up resolving a big card and then running away with it. But here, we've just seen a back-and-forth game over and over. This has been one of the best, Teferi mirrors in Modern that I've ever watched in my entire life.
So Orange, I think he found a land on the top here. He's going to start to beat down with his Celestial Colonnade. But Friedman, he knew that was coming. He left up his Field of Ruin. But he can't contest both Colonnades.
He cannot.
So Teferi down. Back to Friedman. Casts a Path to Exile. And unfortunately, he was just 1 mana shy of being able to Path and Field of Ruin there. Back to Friedman in that signature cutoff look. I love to see it. Still nice and warm here in Michigan.
It's actually pretty cool here in comparison to much of the country at this point.
Well, the thing is, in Scotland, on September 1, the day that spring started, the country was just like, hey, guess what? It's 9 degrees and raining for the rest of the year. Get used to it. So I came over here in 4 layers, stripped down to just my, my blazer and my shirt. I'm having a great time. I will take 25-degree heat any day of the year. Sorry, that's like 417.5 degrees in Fahrenheit. I don't know. I don't understand.
Don't worry. I understand Celsius.
Oh, you speak my language.
Yeah.
You're a man of the world. Another field ruin activation here for Friedman. Both players shuffling their library for, of course, no basics left. And Orange on 12, Friedman with 6 points of burn in hand. And this is where we're going to see Jeskai look for that sneaky backdoor win with burn spells.
Yeah, the combination of Snapcaster Mage with things like Lightning Bolt and Lightning Helix, that may be good enough to get Ben there.
I think that the fact that Friedman has continued to weather this storm, these huge threats that Orange has played at every turn, I think we're going to see him run away with it. Because look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the hand of Gregory Orange. He's sitting on Path to Exile, Oust. Absolute stone-cold blanks, right? Whereas Friedman is drawing Lightning Bolt, which on turn 1 is not what you want. But on turn 2 Squillion, it's fantastic when you can point it straight at the scone.
Yeah, I think that we're at a stage of the game now where both players are repeatedly counting the other's library.
Because it may come down to decking, that's the other thing.
And I think this game may actually come down to who runs out of cards first.
Search for Azcanta now. That's not what you want when it's going to come down to decking, but Orange plays it all the same. I don't know, man. We've seen Friedman shuffle away a lot of Lightning Bolts. They're in the deck there somewhere, and I think it's going to be a lethal flurry of burn spells that could potentially put game 1 here in the books.
Oh, did he just draw? Does he have a pair of snaps in hand?
He's got at least one.
I think he may have just drawn another, and he does have a pair of Lightning Bolts.
Well, there you go. That's it. Easy game here for Ben Friedman. If he can get all of these cards successfully resolved as Orange plays a Jace the Mind Sculptor, Friedman, is he still going to play Reactive Magic?
I think he is. I think it's hard to imagine that an opponent with that many cards in hand doesn't have one way to interact with a single burn spell. It's really hard to take your entire hand and throw it at your opponent when if they have one single interactive card.
Yeah. But
then you're just throwing your hand in the garbage can, essentially.
Look at this. Oust, speaking of a garbage can, JVL, I think that's where Gregory Orange drew his hand from because it is 2 Terminus, triple Path to Exile, and an Oust.
Yes, Gregory Orange's hand is directly from a garbage can. That is true.
It is straight out.
It's also worth noting that any creature that Ben Friedman plays at this point would be easily dealt with the 1,000 Celestial Colonnades that are on Greg Orange's side of the table.
That's very true. His Path to Exile now. Going to be an upgraded Swords to Plowshares on this Snapcaster Mage. Away Tiago Chan goes after a brief cameo appearance, but we all knew that was going to happen. And Friedman, he's just waiting for his time. He's just waiting for his time to pounce. The hunter stalks his prey.
Yeah, and this Cryptic Command also, it gives him some breathing room.
So Orange, I think it's 5 or 6 cards in library for Friedman. Orange with 5 of his own, going to take a Jace. We're getting close to the point, JVL, if we're not already there, where the Jace Ultimate would prolong the game rather than making it. Like, you might see someone target themselves with a Jace Ultimate just in order to give themselves a couple of extra draw steps.
So another Jace. Interested to see how Ben chooses to react to this one.
Cryptic Command. Friedman takes the bait. We'll see what Orange has to say about it. A search for Azcanta activation here. 1, 2, 3, 4 off the top. I see a Spell Snare, Ancestral Vision, and what looked like an Opt. So I think he has now stacked his deck.
Yeah, and that Spell Snare, though, if he had something as simple as that Spell Snare, then Ben Friedman's burn avenue to victory via what is in his hand.
Yes, of course. Lightning Bolt off the top here. Lightning Bolt off the top here for Friedman. He's got Helix, Snapcaster, Helix, Bolt, which you would think would be enough, but it's a Spell Snare here from Orange. He's happy to just make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah.
But I think Friedman's going to finally start to turn this corner.
I think you're right.
I think he can go Snapcaster, Helix. Nope. He's going to wait. He's going to untap. Okay. So Friedman draws out the counterspell, finds a Celestial Colonnade, plays it. We know that Gregory Orange got his hand from the toilet store when it came to this matchup. But Ben Friedman does not know that.
Yeah, this is turn a million. At this point, Ben should know that Greg's hand is a pile of cards that are virtually dead in a matchup like this.
What Friedman can and probably should do here is have a quick squiz at Orange's Graveyard and Exile Zone.
Yeah, I mean, based on what he would know would be in...
You're never getting in with that Colonnade, mate. You're never getting in with that Colonnade. But it looks like it's going to prompt a response here from Friedman. He may choose to fire off a... going to be Field of Ruin, is it?
I don't know.
No, just play a Snapcaster. All right, that makes sense.
Okay, all right. Seems reasonable.
Yeah. Snapcaster. He's not going to try to counter this Path to Exile.
It'd be madness.
Just burn him out, mate. Just burn. It's easy. This is the thing. It's easy for us to say.
Oh, it's so easy for us to say. I mean, we're
say.
sitting here with perfect information.
Yeah, exactly. Logic Knot is going to be the play here for Friedman, keeping that very suspicious Steam Vents untapped. Logic Knot for half a squillion. And Orange goes, yeah, whatever, dude. I got another Path to Exile. I got 10. I got 10 paths. I'm only playing 4, and it's
My
somehow drawn 10.
hand is just a pile of Path to Exiles.
Yeah. How many cards? 7. What are they? They're all Path to Exile.
Yeah.
But the Snapcaster Mage does survive this particular exchange. So that's another way for Friedman to push through damage. But playing it effectively lost him out on an extra 3 points of burn. We know that Friedman could have gone for the kill at any point. He has chosen not to, and he may pay the price.
It looks like he may. I think that there were a few opportunities where he could have had it, though there were a few opportunities where he would have gotten punished for going for it. So,
what is Orange looking for here? He knows the contents of his entire deck.
Yeah, he does know the contents of his entire deck at this point.
I mean, he knows it anyway, but he also knows the order and position of all the cards in his deck, which is not something that you usually have. I mean, usually you know all the cards in your deck. You're not playing optimal Magic if you don't. I will say that. Another Path to Exile. Path to Exile number 10 in his hand, as you can see. Back to Friedman. And he gets busy with the Snapcaster here.
Greg likely going to fire off this 15th Path to Exile.
Yeah, 15th. Or is it 16th?
Yeah, just about.
I think it's... no, you're probably right. 15th. No, going to... Okay, activate the Celestial Call. No, okay, sorry. Excuse me. Got my...
the
knickers in a bit of a knot here.
Getting Field of Ruined.
Yep.
Then getting tapped.
Okay, that makes sense.
Casting a Path to Exile.
Yeah.
Lots of fighting happening for this 2-1.
And both players shuffling. I think Friedman just shuffled the 2 cards in his library.
He did.
That's required. It's good that he did it. And our Lightning Helix. Upstairs. Orange. With a Snapcaster Mage that I think he only just found recently. I think Friedman is in trouble here. I don't think he's got enough burn spells.
I don't think so either.
He doesn't have them either. He knows what the 2 cards left in his library aren't going to get him across the line. Gregory Orange just dug in on this. I mean, you know, like, it reminds me of just... Have you seen when dads have, like, a kid sitting on their foot and holding onto their leg as they walk around? You know, dads will give, like, their kids a little walk on the bottom of their foot, walking around like that. Yeah. And they're like, okay, that's enough time. Enough, jump off. Dad's got stuff to do. And the kid's just like, nah, I'm here forever.
Yeah.
I'm here forever.
I'm never letting go of your leg.
I'm never letting go of your leg.
I experience this regularly.
And that's what Gregory Orange just did there. He's like, Daddy, I'm not getting off. You're going to sit here until you run out of cards with me holding onto your foot, not dying, but not going anywhere, my friend.
Yeah. You're going to get so tired that you fall asleep because you have no energy remaining, at which point I win the game.
I win the game. You're going to run out of dad fuel before I run out of toddler fuel, right? That's the way of the world. And I'm going to get this one across the line. We move now to Jacob Wilson and Daniel Weiser here. Wilson on that KCI tip. It looks like he's on the plan, not even A, B, or C, the plan D. It's Scrap Trawler Beatdown.
Yeah, depending on what's in his graveyard. I think I must be confused about what's exiled and what's in the graveyard based on that turn.
Weiser on Hardened Scales, this new kid on the block, which has already had a bunch of hits, Jacob.
Oh yeah, definitely the up-and-coming Mox Opal deck.
Yeah.
The new and improved Affinity, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment here. As Walking Ballista removes one of the scrap trawlers, but that's going to get... Oh,
Yes.
Jacob Wilson is just bleeding value here. He's got half his library in his hand. He's going to play a Mirror Retriever. He's going to play another Mirror Retriever as well. Embarrassment of Riches, Pyrite Spellbomb. That should be enough with the Crocline Ironwork, surely. Mox Opal as well?
It is.
I mean, I haven't memorized all the loops, but when you've got 10 artifacts on the battlefield and when Crocline Ironworks is one of them, you've got to be doing something very wrong to not be winning the game. Visor, though, fighting to the bitter end. Maybe he's got a Stony Silence that he can neither play nor cast. But attacks. I love this from Wilson. He's like, yeah, sure, I'm a combo deck. Beat you to death with these understated robots here. And Weiser has seen enough. Jacob Wilson takes out the game and the match as Rob Pisano beats out Wyatt Darby. So after spending about 750,000 years watching Ben Friedman and Greg Orange duke it out in game number 1, it didn't matter. Didn't matter because at the end of the day, Jacob Wilson and Rob Pisano take it out for Team Rock and Roll. Congratulations to them. As we welcome you back to the booth, ladies and gentlemen, here at GP Detroit. My name's Riley. I'm joined by JVL. What a pleasure it's been to have you, my friend. Unfortunately, we got to go to some ads, but stick around because on the other side of them, we'll see if we can squeeze in some time walk magic before we get to round number 8. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back after this. And joining me, Jacob, as well. We've got Time Walk Magic coming your way from GP Detroit. The format is unified modern. I love modern, Jacob. I love
So do I. This modern format is incredible.
It's the best.
I think it's the most competitively diverse format we've ever had.
I think that is a statement that would stand up to a fair bit of scrutiny, and it may even be true. I think you're on the money in any case. We've got Time Walk Magic lined up, my friends. We can continue this debate about whether this is the best or not, whatever. Maybe everyone just preferred Eldrazi Winter. I don't know. In any case, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Modern, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. In any case, we have Time Walk Magic lined up, ready to go. So let's get to it. We're going to check with our back table here. As you can see, the team is, of course, Dylan Donegan, Oliver Tomiko, Max McVetti, playing off against Brian DeMars, the popular writer for ChannelFireball.com, and Matthew Nicolai and Stu Parnes here. Looks like we're on the old KCI mirror match in game number 2. And if Brian DeMars wins this, that's it for the game and the match.
Yeah, I mean, so I think we're actually on match 2 right now.
Oh, excuse me. We're Oliver Tomiko and Matthew Nicolai. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the fact that I'm colorblind as an excuse to the fact that I couldn't see the giant red bar highlighting the names. Although I don't think it's going to get me out of this particular sticky wicket. Double Terrarian now for Tomiko.
Yeah, Brian DeMars is a local player, as a matter of fact.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, this is his home turf. So
Motor
right
City.
now he's trying to protect this house.
Yeah, exactly. Revving up the engines of Motor City. I love it. All right.
Exactly.
Well, Tomiko, of course, a familiar name for anyone who followed the coverage of the World Magic Cup last year.
Yeah.
He and Reed Duke and Jerry Thompson channeled their inner Bruce Springsteen. Got the bandanas on as they crusaded against the rest of the world at the WMC, of course. I'll tell you what, they were more American than deep-fried bald eagle tears. As we see now, Nicolai. He's got that mana counter out, which is never a good sign for your opponent. It means you're generally doing something that is at least a little bit degenerate.
Yeah, when your KCI opponent has those on the battlefield, it usually spells defeat for you.
So what the next move is here now for Nicolai. With a Scrap Trawler and a Kraklan Ironworks in play, it's looking good. That's definitely the sort of, flour and water of this particular pancake. And we'll see if we can find the eggs. What else do you make? What do you make? Milk? Milk goes into pancakes, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Like yeast? No, that's bread.
Normally, it's like mix and water, right?
Oh, sure. that's the JVL approach to it. So your Kraklan Ironworks deck is just Kraklan Ironworks, Scrap Trawler, and that's it. You don't need anything else.
You need a little bit of seltzer, right? You need bubbles in the water, right? So that you get the fluffier.
Sure.
The fluffier cakes.
So that's the mere retriever is the soda water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mix and water. Oh my goodness.
That was a very American answer at the very least.
Yeah, well, my dad used to make me pancakes every Sunday morning. It was a family tradition. Sit down and have pancakes.
Well, that's
I don't know how he did a perfect brown thing all over. I've never been able to replicate it.
Wow.
I don't know what he did.
I make waffles actually,
yeah,
but
I mean-
I use a mix for it though. I get a nice mix.
Again.
And I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
Yeah,
You're
I get
American.
fresh-
You're American.
Yeah,
we
I
don't
get fresh
expect
strawberries.
We don't
fresh
expect
blueberries.
anything better.
It's nice. It's nice.
That actually does sound very. Jeez, I'd love some waffles. Nicolai continue to go off here. I love coming to the States. I love it. And do you know why? I'll tell you. Don't even ask. The food. Americans make the best food in the world, and it is not close.
Have you been to Argentina?
I've not. But are you going to try to sell me Argentina steak?
Yeah.
I don't like steak.
Oh.
It's too I like a nice hamburger. It doesn't get stuck in your teeth. Americans make everything better. American pizza is the best in the world. American burgers, American fries, everything.
Yeah.
Americans
those things are all the best here. That's true.
And I'll tell you who's the best in this matchup here as Matthew Nicolai takes out game number 2 and equalises things. And now we flip over to Brian DeMars and Dylan Donegan, a rather tame KCI mirror going the way of the player who drew the Kraklan Ironworks. What a shock. The papers will be in uproar tomorrow. We've got another Celestial Colonnade deck here facing off against another Celestial Colonnade deck. I love to see it. I love to see these white-blue based decks getting up and about. And once again, it's Jeskai versus white-blue.
Yeah, and this time they've made it to game 3. So hats off to the two of these players. Because here we are, still some time left in the match, and they're in a third game. And if you like basic lands, take a look at Brian DeMar's
Yeah, I'm loving
basic
this.
lands. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, fantastic.
These are gorgeous.
The sunflower art is very good. Although Donegan no slouch himself with the betas.
Oh yeah, I mean those are like the classically beautiful.
Yeah,
you know.
That's like the that's like the Mona Lisa. That's like the
Yeah.
Beatles.
Yes.
It's how can you not like the Beatles?
Yeah.
But you're not doing anything bold or adventurous by liking the
Yeah.
Beatles.
Whereas like the sunflower's like the Mick DeVille. You know what I mean? It's like it's a little like grimier, but
it's like being
but
into
it's beautiful.
it's being into Ween when you're around people who are really into Death Cab.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
you can upgrade your indie rock credentials by talking about Ween. Here's Jace the Mind Sculptor now, as Brian DeMars defends it admirably against a Logic Knot. No, he doesn't. Unfortunately, Donegan with the answer that he needs. And here's Teferi while DeMars is tapped out, and that is going to push Donegan a long way ahead, especially now as he's got 3 mana untapped to defend his Hero of Dominaria.
Yeah, and this is precisely what we've talked about time and time again. It looks like that could just run away with it.
Looks like we're going to switch back over to this one now as Donegan does take it out with that Teferi. I'm getting the indication that the Hero of Dominaria was enough to put him over the top. So back now to Tomiko and Nikolai. This is the decider, JVL. Stu Parnes winning in straight sets against Mac McVetti. Dylan Donegan 2-1 against Brian DeMars. So now it's the former US national champion against Matthew Nikolai here. Both of them on KCI. Oi. Oi.
Yeah, this deck is considered by many to be the most powerful strategy in all of Modern. Not the most fun mirror match if you've had the opportunity to play it. A lot of it comes down to simply drawing the cards in the correct order.
Yes, and Nikolai has gotten off to a flyer here with finding his Krark Clan Ironworks. Now, the thing about this deck is, I'm sure you're familiar with the term zero-sum, right?
Yes.
And this, for me, is one of the most zero-sum fun decks in the format. The idea of a zero-sum is like if you're having fun, you're directly harvesting that fun from the other person. There's only 100% of the fun that can be divvied up between the two players. And if you're playing KCI, you're looking to have as much of that fun as possible. Hopefully 100% of it.
I don't think that fun is like a fungible type of thing, though. It's not like a tangible item. So I don't know if fun is necessarily zero-sum. Right? I think that you can have more fun. I, for example, when I'm winning with another deck, would be having more fun than if I was winning with
how many
KCI.
More 3, 4, 5 more funds? How many more funds? I have. This is not a joke. I have had conversations with Frank Karsten about. Oops, sorry. Just let me pick up the name that I dropped there off the floor. About actually attempting to quantify fun in games of Magic as a percentile.
He's the only person you can have that conversation with in the world.
He's a treasure.
And if everybody at home is upset that we're not talking about this match, this is a KCI mirror. Right? Like,
what is there to do?
Like we'll mention it when somebody plays a scrap trawler.
Yes,
right? Like
that's when we're going to go live here.
Like in conjunction with the Krark Clan Ironworks, of course.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I'll tell you this. I've been wanting to tell this story for a while. Can I tell you what happened to me yesterday? Because I was late. I was late
with
to
the plane.
Detroit.
Yeah, this is the perfect time to do this when we're watching the tail end of a KCI mirror.
So I jump on the flight over to Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
No worries, through security, easy game. Get on the plane, not a worry. Plane's absolutely full as a goog, right? But we taxi out to the to the runway, go out there like that, and they hit the accelerator, I guess. I don't know if it's a pedal, whatever. They the engines go like this, and then there's this huge bang, right? And then it starts thumping, goes boom, 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 boom. And of course, the pilot slams on the brakes, I guess. I don't know what planes have. I'm not a pilot. And he says, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a slight error with the engine there. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. We all heard it, buddy. But no, pulled off the runway, down to the thing. We sat in there for an hour while they tried to figure out what was going on. And then we got, we deplaned, as they say, sat in the terminal for 3 hours, and they cancelled the flight. I know.
That's brutal.
It was,
that's like having your Krark Clan Ironworks get hit by a nature's claim.
It's exactly the same as that. It wasn't too bad for me. I was able to go home and kind of chill out and relax, watch some Rick and Morty, had a good time. I sulked for a bit, but I got over it. And got on the 6 a.m. flight back over here this morning. So, it all ended up going okay. But I'll tell you this, JVL. I will tell you this, my friend. It's a bloody good feeling when a plane engine blows up when you're still on the ground. It's a very good feeling indeed.
Yeah, I guess that could have gone much worse for you.
It's never great to hear an engine sort of, explode, but when it does, if it's going to happen, it's better for it to happen when the wheels are on the ground. I have to say that.
Yes, I imagine that has to be true.
Anyway, cruised in this morning via Amsterdam. Had a great time. Got up to date with Rick and Morty. Watched the 3rd season. I've been saving it for a long plane trip, so I'm happy to get across that. And arrived here, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Cruised into work at 1 p.m. And ladies and gentlemen, the party don't stop till the cops kick the door down. In the meantime, Jacob, what has happened?
So the Clark Ironworks that Matthew Nicolai was hoping would, join forces with something like a scrap trawler to win him the game. That got picked off by a Nature's Claim. Oliver Tomiko advanced sports it a bit, had a bunch of artifacts in play. Matthew Nicolai cleaned that up with an engineered explosives for 2, but in the process, he allowed Oliver to draw some extra cards. Now, Oliver has a whole bunch of cards in hand, could potentially go off in the coming turns, but Matthew Nicolai, he's the one who has a mana advantage, and that's how he's going to be looking to go off this game.
An admirably succinct and accurate summary. Hats off.
Thank you.
That's actually very good.
Also, you should have gone to the Barnes Foundation if you were stuck in Philadelphia. That is one of my favorite museums in the entire world.
No, I didn't leave Glasgow. I didn't leave Glasgow. It was the flight to Philly that.
Oh, it was the flight to Philly.
that
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, dude, I'm all about Philly.
Yeah.
Man, Independence Hall. I went to the Mint there. I went and saw actual literal American money get made. That was so sick. Philly's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of Philadelphia.
To make it with an EE of his own here, and Ancient Stirrings now for Nicolai. And there's the scrap trawler.
Yeah, we see a scrap trawler and we see a mirror retriever.
So Nicolai with a choice now to take whatever he wants, really. He's kind of his pick of the litter off the top of the library here. See what he goes for. It is going to be, looks like it's going to be Scrappy T here.
Yeah, and he had a lot of options there. Those 5 cards included Clark Klein Ironworks, Scrap Trawler, and Mirror Retriever. So essentially 1 green mana for a Demonic Tutor there.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, the card's ridiculous. Ancient Stirrings is ridiculously powerful.
Yes, just in a vacuum, in the decks that it's played in, maybe the most powerful card in all of Modern.
I think that's true. It comes with some pretty heavy and stringent deck building requirements, but
yes,
someone pointed out, and I think this is a very good observation, despite the fact that we go on and on about the fact that it has heavy deck building requirements, it is currently played in a combo deck, in an aggro deck, in a big mana deck. It's not played in any control decks, but the moment we get a colorless control deck, Ancient Stirrings has just become, as you say, like DT, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Ancient Stirrings is the one major deck building restriction for Unified Constructed.
Yes, yeah.
You can only have 1 Stirring deck on your team.
I wrote about this for CFB this week. I talked about how normally what happens in Unified Modern is that we have one kind of locked-in archetype often the Ancient Stirrings deck, and then the other 2 fight over the fetch lands, the shock lands, and the lightning bolts, the Thoughtseize, what have you. These days we don't have to do that because the 3 pillars right now are Ancient Stirrings, Noble Hierarch, and everything
Faithless
else.
Looting.
Maybe Faithless Looting is the other card.
Yeah. You could go 2 out of 3 of those and then play blue-white also.
That's it. But you can play, if you play Humans, Ancient Stirrings, the 3rd deck can be actually anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not fighting for any, maybe a Dismember. Which member?
Yeah.
Dismember.
This one.
This one.
I mean, you could just replace that with a gut shot.
Which shot?
Gut. Oh, but Oliver here.
Look at this.
So we have assembled
the pancake.
Yes.
But a Nature's Claim is going to be a big splash of vinegar into this batter here. And kind of sours the progress of the US national champion, Oliver Tomiko, the former US national champion, I should say, from last year. Who took it out this year? Who was the can't remember his name. Apologies to the current US national champion. I'm sure we'll see the Americans put on another stalwart performance this year at the end of the year at the WMC. Looking forward to getting across that. But, of course, I'll be ready for my boys from Australia. Best country on earth, mate. Don't worry about it.
Aren't you from New Zealand?
Excuse me. Are you Canadian?
You're Australian?
Yes, I'm Australian.
I thought you were from New Zealand.
Are you kidding me? Is this a bit? This better be a bit. We'll have words about this later on, Van Lunen. You have not got away with that one, my friend. You have not got away with that one.
New Zealand's beautiful. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it. That's why all New Zealanders end up moving to Australia. And we will have words about this later on. Don't mark my words. Mark my words, my friends. Well, Tomiko had started to put everything together, but then it seems the wheel seems to have fallen off this particular pancake batter. That metaphor didn't work out. Here's another KCI from that Inventor's Fair. Is Inventor's Fair or Inventor's Unfair as a tutor?
It's kind of unfair getting to just play a land that haphazardly gains you life, and then the later stages of the game becomes a tutor.
Inventor's slightly unfair, perhaps?
Yeah. I would say it's just straight up unfair.
Inventor's unfair.
Inventor's straight up unfair.
Let's lock it in. Let's lock it in. KCI comes out of the bin here thanks to that Buried Ruin.
We've actually been watching quite a bit of interaction here. These nature claims have mattered quite a bit. The fact that Oliver had a nature's claim for the KCI on Matthew's side of the table, it really prevented Matthew from churning through his library on that key turn. Then Oliver, he found the Scrap Trawler to go along with his. Matthew had his nature's claim in response. It looks like Oliver now has another KCI.
Yeah.
In hand.
No, but he just fetched that with the Inventor's Unfair.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, things getting more and more interesting here. Of course, Oliver doesn't really have much in the way of artifacts to go along with that KCI, though.
No, that's the problem here.
Yeah, he's going to need to draw something like an Ichor Wellspring to really just hypercharge what he's capable of.
So the other thing to consider here, and it comes back to a point that you made before, JVL, this game, this matchup generally is highly uninteractive. These decks are battle cruisers passing in the night. They're glass cannons, you know. And here now we're seeing even Pirate Spellbomb as another form of interaction, EE as another interactive option. And that really changes the texture of a matchup that I think has been thoroughly explored to the point that we can kind of go on cruise control while these players are kind of going off. Maybe there's a little bit more to be said about it.
Yeah, I think that, this game in particular has been a very interactive game. We've watched multiple Nature's Claims going back and forth. Here, Matthew Nikolai used that Pirate Spellbomb to try to get that other Scrap Trawler off the table. In doing so, he's able to get a trigger off of his own Scrap Trawler. That way, he's able to return this Engineered Explosives back to his hand. Just trying to grind ahead on some level of advantage, leaving Oliver with, just a Krark-Clan Ironworks and a Mox Opal. Matthew Nikolai has piloted this game beautifully. He's really just worked his way through this. We've had some fun conversations about planes and me joking about New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, was it a joke?
You talking about you liking hamburgers more than steak.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good conversation, but we've also gotten to watch, even though it has been as KCI mirrors tend to be.
Glacially slow.
Yeah, there's also, a lot more interaction than we're used to seeing out of this matchup happening.
It's had everything. It's fun for the whole family. There's been laughs, there's been tears, we've had smiles, frowns, ups, downs, been a roller coaster ride.
And interestingly enough there, Oliver on that turn had Ichor Wellspring and Terrarion. So if that Scrap Trawler had not been dealt with, Oliver would have gone off that turn.
Here's KCI now for Nikolai. We'll see what he wants to follow it up with here. An Engineered Explosives played almost like a land, immediately sacrificed here. And Nikolai, can he start to go off? Mirror Retriever in hand, Buried Ruin on the battlefield. He's got a Scrap Trawler in the bin. He's arranged the items across various shelves and pantries in the kitchen, but can he put them all in the right bowl and get these buttery, fluffy pancakes happening?
Yeah, he's got to MacGyver this win. This isn't one of those simple, I have these cards, now I'm going off kind of win. This is a
he's got to milk the cow himself.
Yes.
He's got to grind. He's got to grind the grain.
He's walking out into the field with his scythe right now.
This is not a pancake mix win for him here.
It is not.
Mox Opal continuing to keep that mana supply flowing along, but Ichor Wellspring going to be a key card, just in terms of velocity here for Nikolai. 2 more mana now. And I like this. I like where this is going for Nikolai. It's looking very, very good. Tamaiko
he's got it.
Under a lot of pressure here, and a lot of trouble. Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star in hand for Nikolai as well. The mana party don't stop here. Mox Opal, draw a card from the Ichor Wellspring. Another Chromatic Star. Buried Ruin brings back a Mirror Retriever. That's a loop. And enough for Tamaiko to extend the hand. Damars Nikolai Pans continue their unbeaten run with 2 draws, but undefeated with 2 draws at GP Detroit. What a record they've got so far with 2 draws.
Yeah, I mean, they could pick up another draw and find themselves in the second day of competition.
We are going to head now to our very last round for day number 1. It's just going to be some elimination magic on your screen, my friends, because the winning in magic continues here from GP Detroit. We're going to take a quick break to line things up on the other side of these ads. We'll be back from GP Detroit, so don't go anywhere. JVL and Riley Knight, we'll see you back here soon.
Looking for a challenge? Magic Online offers monthly limited and constructed events, which lead to the yearly Magic Online Championship. Download Magic Online at mtgo.com and start earning the points you need to enter.